Hello, everyone, and welcome to the preview show delivered by FedEx. I'm Marty Snyder, sitting in for Alan Cavana this week. Sitting in for me, Chris Rice, crew chief of the number 99 car on the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and also one of our insiders here on NASCAR.com. Chris, I bet you are happy to leave rainy Texas behind and get to Darlington. Although you Nationwide Series guys didn't have any rain. You left it off for the Cup guys. It was very, very nice of you.
It was very nice. It took me a little off guard because we raced Friday night, and I'm so used to them racing on Saturday night.
Right.
I didn't know what to do. So what did I do? I went to our local short track and watched a little racing.
Very good. What are the fun parts of Darlington as a crew chief? What are the fun things about it?
The history of Darlington. You know what I mean? It is Darlington, too tough to tame. Everybody's going to get up beside the wall and they're going to do a little touching of it. And you know, with the new Gen 6 car, the low riding car, they're really going to be flying there. And when they fly, what does that make? That makes more sparks up against the wall. So it should be interesting. I'm really excited to go to Darlington and watch how the new car does there.
Always a lot of fun. One of the things we've certainly all been watching is the youth movement over the last few weeks, both in the Nationwide Series and the Cup Series. You've got 18-year-old Chase Elliott. He wins at Texas, has to go back to high school in Dawsonville, Georgia the next week. And 21-year-old Kyle Larson, back-to-back top fives for him in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. So I guess question for you, Chris, is can this youth movement continue? And how are these young guys getting it done at such a high level so early on and making it look so easy?
Well, you know, it's their roots. It's their grassroots. You look at Chase Elliott, Bill Elliott, you've seen him win the Winston Million at Darlington. So he's going to go back to a racetrack that his dad has made some history at. I talked to Chase Elliott at Texas, I told him before that race, I said, man, you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to win. And he did. He went out and won. He's made a lot of friends on the racetrack. He's made a lot of friends off the racetrack. But he is really good. But, you know, Kyle Larson has really impressed me in what he has done. Not only did he do good in the Nationwide Series, yes, he didn't win a race like Chase did, but man, was he consistent every week. Now, in the Cup car, he has been really consistent. Anywhere we go and he's at the top of the racetrack, he's always up front. They're comfortable. That's the big thing in a race car. It's his office. He's very comfortable in there, and it shows with his speed. Meanwhile,
the grizzled veteran, Joey Logano, wins at Texas, 23 years old, so he's not exactly young or old guy either. So that's the seventh different winner in 7 races so far this season. Do we see an 8th this weekend at Darlington, you think?
Absolutely. You know who hasn't won yet?
I know a lot of guys
Jimmy Johnson.
That's exactly right.
Jimmy Johnson has not won. He hadn't won a race. Did you ever think we would say Jimmy Johnson hadn't won a race 7 races in?
Yeah, never. I did not think that would be the case. And for Joey Logano, that gets Penske their 2nd win of the season. They joined Stewart-Haas as the only organization with multiple wins this season. So that leads us to our FedEx Social Pick of the Week. Who will be the next organization to join that group? Will it be Joe Gibbs Racing, Roush Fenway Racing, or Hendrick Motorsports that will tally a 2nd win for the organization in 2014? You can cast your vote at NASCAR.com/social. Well, of course, Darlington is one of the toughest racetracks, not only in NASCAR, but the entire world, Chris. So we talked about the fun things of Darlington. What are the challenges of Darlington as a crew chief, and how do you attack that race as a crew chief?
Well, you look at Darlington. You're looking at it right now. Turns 1 and 2 is very different than turns 3 and 4. They go through 1 and 2 and they drive off in turn 1, and then they're right back up against the wall, and then they got to lift again to turn off of turn 2. And if you look at turn 3 from an aerial view, the reason it's different is because that pond out there.
That's right.
So what that makes for is you get very loose off of that turn. The higher you can get off of turn 4, the more grip is up there. Kyle Busch makes the best speed at the top of the racetrack at Darlington.
And that's a very good point. Kyle Busch, certainly one of the guys who should be strong this weekend. So it's time for us to show that we know what we're talking about. The show's been on a streak this year, I got to tell you. Gotten a lot of picks right. And I'm expecting some fantastic stuff from you, some inside stuff. Who's going to win this weekend, you think, Chris?
Well, you know, we did talk about Jimmy Johnson, and it was a little bit of a struggle when you and I had this conversation, but I'm going with Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is going to get out of the little issues he's having, the little problems. He's going to win in his 18 Joe Gibbs car, which, you know, we've talking about which organization is going to do it again.
There you go.
I got Kyle Busch.
I like the pick so much, I'm going to go with his teammate, Denny Hamlin, because a lot of people forget that Darlington is one of Denny Hamlin's better racetracks. People always think of Martinsville and Richmond as his better racetracks. And I like the progression of what Joe Gibbs Racing has done so far this season. They were admittedly off early in the season at the intermediate racetracks. They've progressively gotten better. I thought they had the best car at times in the Texas race. So I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin this weekend. Gibbs has won 3 of the last 6 races at Darlington, so it makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense. And you're right, they were a little off, but you know, we played a guessing game. They went through the winter, played a little guessing game. It didn't work out when we got into the season. So I say they're going to pick it up this week.
Rice, I can't believe either one of us didn't pick Jimmy Johnson. You know what that means, don't you? Jimmy Johnson's going to go win the race
He'll
this
go
weekend. But you guys enjoy some great Saturday night racing. Weather, for once, will not be a factor. Should be a beautiful weekend in Darlington. And we'll see you back here next week for the preview show delivered by FedEx. See you then, everyone.